Shifting from a scarcity to an abundance mindset. A legal disclaimer we put at the beginning of all of our presentations. This is for general and educational use only. Content is not intended to substitute for professional, legal, or clinical advice. We strive to keep our information as accurate and timely as possible, but make no promises and guarantees it works for your local unique situation. As an introduction, I want to have a good discussion of what these words mean, because if you don't understand what they mean, it's really hard to shift your mindset. So mindset shapes how you look at the world, how you view your relationships, your challenges, your triumphs, your struggles, your personal growth, your financial growth. We can all have the same world in front of us, but we all live in a very different reality. And so it's phenomenal, that mindset, that I could think that was a traumatic birth experience and the client thinks it was a great birth experience. I can think, oh my gosh, that was the most beautiful birth I saw in the world, and she on the inside was having abuse thoughts and trauma, and it was the same situation, but it's how we're perceiving it. And so mindset is very powerful when we talk about abundance versus scarcity and viewing things. Are you a person that does the glass half full or a person that does the glass half empty? We still have the same situation in front of us. Are you going to try to solve the problem and fix it and improve things, or are you just going to complain and not do anything and just sit there and it's going to be the same thing as it was? Scarcity mindset is driven by fear, competition, limited resources. It's a lot of anxiety, and like in nursing, we eat our young, and as midwifery, there's so much scarcity mindset in midwifery. Like, it's just so toxic. I don't want to take a student because I don't want to train my competition. Like, there are so many people to serve. Like, there's not that many ladies that are choosing home births, and I'm like, the volume has doubled. You can't even handle, you have a waiting list. Like, there's just this world, that perception, that mindset that we live in, that I'm like, I can see all the other opportunities out there, and you're looking at it from a different lens and perspective. Like, 1 + 1 can equal 3, and this is why. Like, we need to collaborate. We need to have more abundance mindset. We need to support each other, because more value is going to come back to you, whether it's financially, it's relationships, it's knowledge, expertise, it's a good deal on something. The law of attraction is truly powerful. And if we're putting out to the universe fear and anxiety, and it's hard, like, I've went through phases, and I still, every day, we're human beings, where crap after crap after crap happens, and you're just going to this fear cycle, into this scarcity, and you just want to shrivel up in a hole and die. And then it takes a while to get back out of it. So I think as time goes on, that abundance mindset, when you get hit with those resistance and those stressors and those challenges, you've built up a reserve that they don't hit you as hard as they used to. But it takes time. If you've lived your entire life as scarcity, it's very difficult to have little ounces of abundance. Like, you're just, oh, something bad's going to happen. It's going to happen. Oh, that never happens to me. Versus, you know what? I made a mistake. I'm going to learn from it. The more mistakes I have, the faster I'm going to excel, versus, oh, I failed, I'm a failure, I'm never trying again. Like, people that are financially free, people that have big business Goliaths, they never just shot right up to the top. They kind of went up, and then they went down, and then they struggled, and they had good times and hard times. It was the resilience, it was the abundance mindset, it was the endurance and passion and drive that put them through the thicks and thins of things. So abundance mindset is opportunities, unlimited growth, collaboration, win-win situations. We all bring different skills to the table. Every midwife serves different types of clients. You're a midwife that more does a religious base. I'm a midwife that, because I'm a nurse midwife versus a CPM, I tend to serve more healthcare providers, and you tend to serve more people that don't want to be part of the mainstream system, and that's okay. But we have to embrace and collaborate and refer, instead of talking bad about each other at consults and bringing each other down and nasty. When, like, I just see it at peer reviews, and I see it when a local midwife has a bad outcome. Like, and I am telling you, I've been down the rabbit hole of where I attack my colleague midwives, and I'm trying to get better and better, because it doesn't help us. It just hurts the greater midwifery. We have potential clients trying to see us, and we're all talking bad about each other. Like, we should be raving about each other. I don't care what they do on their business. It's the board of nursing. It's the board of midwifery. It's their decision to determine if they're safe or not safe. My job is to find midwives that are good fit for me and good fit for my colleagues to refer to. And it's that way in your personal life with exercise. And when a bad thing happens in a car accident, you can look at, oh my gosh, that was so horrible. Like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I'm alive. Like, every ounce of what happens in our lives, we can approach it two directions. Understanding the scarcity mindset is the fear of losing. It's a competitive nature. It's short-term thinking. There's no gratitude. There's no appreciation. You're always complaining. You're always fearful. People are out to get you. Like, it doesn't attract good things into your life. You attract to you more people that think like you, because if you're around abundant people and they hear you with a scarcity mindset, they're going to go away from you, and you're going to attract more people that are like you. I saw some really cool statistics that I loved. It's more on the financial side, that you are the average income of the people you hang around. But I also think there's like a mindset scale of like scarcity and abundance, and you're probably the average of the mindset of all the people you hang out with. Because if you're at a low end of a scarcity mindset and fear and complaining and everything is bad, and someone else is a high achiever, high abundance, opportunities, they're not going to hang out together. That person that's abundance and opportunity is going to feel leached off by the person with a scarcity, and they're going to separate. So like, if you want to be surrounded by great people, you need to be in the right mindset to attract them to you. The keys of a scarcity mindset, and it's hard, like with the economy and the challenges and people feeling cornered right now. I get it. They're like, why is all this war happening and all these human trafficking and all this corruption and all this political tension, and is the US going to be in a civil war? Are we going to be in a nuclear war? Like, you can go down that rabbit hole of apocalyptic doomsday, and I've done it. But I've gotten a mantra of, if I can't control, I let it go. Like, okay, I can't control if they decide to hit the button and do nuclear war. It would be horrible. It'd be sad. I hope we get a quick death. But I can control, we're getting less and less food, and the food at the stores, like grocery stores, if the trucks don't come, we're always 3 meals from chaos. Like, our complex economic system is super, super fragile. It used to be local markets, local farmers, and it's like one big supply chain for all these resources, and if they don't exist, it crumbles. So like, I can have a garden, I can have reserves of food and water and live out in the country versus the city. Like, there's certain things I can do to reduce my risk. And it's not that you're fearful. I think that's a big difference of like, because you have all this research and you know all these potential ways, doesn't make you a scarcity. I look at it as like food insurance and risk reduction, and like, I know all these things, but I also know what opportunities we have. Like, when depressions happen and hard times happen, people accelerate and soar because the people that are resilient and think outside the box are what brings us out of these challenging times. So there's cycles, they happen over and over again. I think that was what was really comforting to me when I started going down this rabbit hole in 2016-17, is it was like, everything's bad, we're all going to collapse, it's horrible, why do I even bother? But now that I understand history and cycles, this happens over and over again. We have the Black Death, we have turf wars, we have all this stuff. Like, human resiliency goes in cycles, and we're just in those cycles where it's the tougher times now. But people have thrived during the Depression. If people read diaries about the Jewish concentration camps, like, it blew my mind. These people had everything taken away, but they're like, they can't take my mind. Like, they can't take away the way I think and the way I feel. And so when I read these stories about people in the Depression that were happy and lived a good life, even though there was quote unquote so much suffering around, they lived in the country, they weren't so dependent on the system, they had kids, they had skills, they had the right mindset. So I've just learned over time that, like, we get to choose the perceptions of our world. We all live in the same world, and we all get to decide what to listen to for news stations and independent media and podcast, or not anything, and just put your head in the sand like an ostrich. Like, that's your choice and that's your mindset. Like, I giggle with the Amish and Mennonites because they're just isolated from the world. When COVID and everything happened, they didn't go through all the trauma that the rest of us did because their mindset in the world they lived in didn't have all the big system. Like, so it's your community, it's your mindset, it's the way you can live to determine if things are scarce or abundance. So the power of an abundant mindset, there is so much with quantum physics and the energy that our body puts off, and there's parts of our brain and the organs that, like, when you're scarcity, they shrink, and when you're abundance, they grow, and other parts of your brains goes off. You think differently, your energy levels differently, you attract people and opportunities. You're just like, how did I meet that amazing person, and this stars aligned for something? There's so much science behind an abundance mindset, the law of attraction, and visions, and like I don't know if you ever saw the story of Carey. He carried $1 million check in his pocket and said, I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to make $1 million. And with the movie The Mask, he asked for and he got $1 million for his first big movie gig. So there is so much power. I love the story with like Chris Hemsworth and his wife. Like, she has a Thor tattoo as a teenager on her back that she got, and now she's married to Thor, like the guy that plays in all the movies. So like, there is so much studies and so much out there that's more than just quote unquote coincidences. But if you don't have the right mindset and can see the opportunities, like if you're in a scarcity, you can have an opportunity right in front of you and you don't even see it. You don't even know because your brain's not looking for it. So an abundance mindset is collaboration over competition. You want to bring everybody else up. Your mindset is, if they're successful, I'm successful. Because if you make $1 million and everybody else is in poverty and struggling, your $1 million won't buy you anything. If the system's collapsing, and that's what's fascinating, there's two types of rich people out there. There's the ones that are the rich hoarders, the doomsday preppers, making their giant bunkers and saying, screw everybody else, this is mine, mine, mine. And then there's the rich out there, the philanthropists, the ones that are like, I don't care if I have a bazillion dollars, but if the world doesn't exist anymore and everything's falling apart, we all go down together. Like, we want to build up. We get happiness from inspiring the next generation, from making things better for everybody else makes it better for us. Positivity, gratitude, like, I grew up in the farm country in the Midwest, and you worked hard and you never complained, but you also never got compliments. So it's been a challenge for me to not just expect everybody. You work hard and you just do it, like to say thank you and to show appreciation. In my head, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that colleague of mine is working so hard and did such a great job. I've had to get in the habit of saying it because I didn't grow up that way. And you'd be shocked. Like, you have tension, you have crazy shifts, you have crazy bursts, you have crazy times. When you pause and appreciate your loved ones, you appreciate your colleagues, you appreciate the universe, things are just different. They get better. You get the energy back to you. Long-term thinking, you're dreaming big thoughts and visions versus, how am I going to pay my next house payment? How am I going to pay for groceries? How am I going to survive tonight when I only got a few hours sleep? Like, when you're scarcity, you're short term, you're survival mode. When you're scarcity, you can't grow, you can't get past it. It's hard to take the first leaps. Like, there are so many studies that the first $1 million that people make is the hardest. But once you make $1 million, you've created the habits. You have to get past bridging the systems, the mindset that's got you in where you're at. And once you do it, after you make the first $1 million, after you get passive income streams, they're so much easier to create. And it's not because of the other ones. It's because you had to go through a learning curve. You had to create the knowledge, the tools, the resources to attract those things, to create those things for you. A belief in unlimited resources. Anything is possible. Like, I have went down so many journeys the last year and a half with so much trauma and with death in my family and bad coincidences of things happened, that I went on a spiritual journey, and I'm just like learning about all these like things we just don't see and we don't know and we don't understand that are out there, whether it's extraterrestrials, or literally there was a documentary that just exploded last week with the Giza pyramids and all the topography that's showing these massive cities underneath of us. Like, this belief that we live in this illusion of control and a system, and we're ingrained from little to believe and think a certain way of how we have to live, how we have to act, how we have to behave. There was a really good book that my life coach gave me, The 4 Agreements, and it was hard, even though it's not a thick book. It took me a few times to read it and process it, because our mindset and our world we live into has been 99.9% conditioned for us from our family, our schools, our institutions, our culture. And to break down those beliefs and create a new paradigm for ourselves is scary, but it can be done. We can create anything. Our minds are so freaking powerful. Like, the pain perceptions. There's studies where women don't need anesthesia for C-sections because of our minds. Like people that do amazing things, they have near-death experiences, they die for a long time and come back. Like the more and more I learn about all aspects, not just business and finances, but I love to learn. Like I there's so much out there that makes you humbled that yes, there's so much possibilities. I believe there is some sort of reincarnation, some afterlife. There's a very consistent theme with all these religions out there of the core of where we all came from. And so it's just fascinating to me. So having a belief of anything is possible, and these things happening, these challenges in life are part of our spirit's journey, and creating resilience and like having faith and trust that I need to go through this for something in the future. I don't know, I don't understand, but I have to embrace it. It's hard, it hurts, it's pain, but there's a reason for it. There's characteristics of that abundance thinking, a belief that there's enough for everybody. There's so much opportunity. You can see past the barriers into opportunities. You know how to fix the problems. You know how to leverage the expertise of all the wonderful people around you. You know how to inspire people to their ultimate potential. You're patient. You're resilient. You're a long-term planner. You're a leader. You're a mentor. You're an influencer. You focus on gratitude, contentment, and well-being. You're going to have people cross your paths that are angry and bitter. And I've just learned over time, because we used to take it so personally. I had so much trauma as a child that it was like, oh my gosh, they're mad at me and it's me. And you start learning about psychology and fear, and 95% of the time you're just the current punching bag. There's something going on in their life and you're just in front of them. And so we have to be kind and passionate to ourselves, that if someone's getting angry with me, oh my gosh, I'm not a bad person. I got to reflect. Okay, did I do something wrong? Did I screw up? Did I make a mistake? Or is it, you know what, they're going through a really hard time, a bad day, a divorce. Like I can't put myself in their shoes and have a clue what's going on in their life. There's a really good philosophy about the golden rule, but my favorite one is the platinum rule, and very few people know about it. So the golden rule is do unto others as you want to have done to you. But the platinum rule is do unto others how they would like to be treated. And in talking about like learning how to read people, what drives them, there's a emotional fingerprint book that's phenomenal, that by listening to how people talk, are they driven by money? Are they driven by lifestyle? Are they driven by teams and creativity and community? You can learn how they're driven, and then you can translate how you're driven into what they love and passions. It's the same end goal, but you're approaching it where it hits their drive points. But we have no clue what's going on in that other person's lives, in their personal. We only see a tiny bit when they're responding and reacting to us. So being kind to each other, being kind to ourselves, more love in the world and more peace. Like if Gandhi was around right now, like I think of all these amazing people we've had throughout history, that it was love and passion and kindness for people that hated us and caused violence, and just deep empathy for them changes things so much. So we talked extensively about why shifting to an abundance mindset matters. Like there's just so much, like, and it's hard. You go through phases. You're never going to be 100% in an abundance mindset. It's just not possible. You're sleep deprived. You stub your toe. You've gotten in a car accident. You locked your keys out. This went wrong. This went wrong. And you get frustrated. But I want you to be overall meditation, reading good books, surrounding yourself by good people, having fun, having an identity outside of being a midwife, and not being in an extreme survival mode financially and personally. It makes a big difference, and it's hard to get out of that cycle. I know from multiple stages of my life, but it's possible with the right support, the right mindset, and the right patience of time. So personal growth. Whether it's reading, whether it's joining support groups, whether it's going back to church, it's hanging out with your friends again, it's getting hobbies, it's exercising, it's eating better, it's drinking more water and sleep, personal self-care, personal growth, increasing yourself esteem. If you don't have any confidence and you don't think you're worth value, it's going to show to other people. You're going to be insecure. You're going to apologize all the time. You're not going to reach out and shake someone's hand and go to something. You're going to be more isolated and separated when you have poor self-esteem. You want to continuously learn. You want to learn about all kinds of things. You want to have a conversation with somebody outside of midwifery about trends and culture and history and movies. And the more you learn about, they all overlap into each other. Like, I have loved learning about business and finances and history because I can take these things and relate it to midwifery and give people the Cliff Note versions that's going to help them in their own life. In that professional success, like with your business being successful, serving more people, networking, looking out, how do I make a win-win situation versus I'm the best, everybody else sucks. Like, we need to look at how can we grow, how can we scale up, how can we serve more people in our communities. And the best way to do that is to create businesses, to create resources, tools, support groups, serve a value of challenges that you see in your community. I love. I get 1 in 10 midwifing consultant clients that are young and new and just a sponge, and they're going to make great things happen because of their mindset. And then there's other ones where they've been doing it the same way forever, and they just think they pay me a bunch of money and I'm going to solve their problems. And then they get mad and frustrated because they don't want the direct accountability. They don't want the direct mindset that you're in your situation because of yourself. If you're willing to change your habits, if you're willing to learn and open and pivot and adjust, great things can come to you. But if you're wanting me just to give you a band-aid and then as soon as we're done talking and consulting together, you're going to go back to the way you were, I can't fix your problems. And so I'm a very direct, empathetic consultant, but I call it as it is. And I've learned over the years that if someone isn't willing to fix and change themselves, it doesn't matter what knowledge, what tools, resources I have for them, it's not going to change in their life. I want all midwives and birth workers to have financial freedom. You are hearing this consistent theme through everything I do. Business knowledge, financial knowledge, the opportunities you have in life, the life you can live because of financial freedom. It's just night and day difference. I want you to dream big. I want you to dream to your ultimate potential in midwifery, in your personal life, and the bucket list of things you want to do. I challenge people to go big. And even if you only meet half of it, that is way better than someone making a mediocre goal and always consistently making it. So you're going to do smart investments. You're going to learn about the right things. You're going to build income streams. You're going to accrue assets. You're going to have the right budgets and savings accounts and add value to a larger scale of people. And you're going to change habits in your life. You're going to take care of yourself better. You're not going to eat out all the time. You're going to get rid of the credit card debt, and you're going to live simpler. You're going to get a more gas effective vehicle. You're going to get a smaller house. You're going to move. You're going to refinance your mortgage. You're going to look at these things that you can change in your life so that you have less expenses going out and you're increasing your income streams. Health and wealth go hand in hand. We talk about it all the time. You can have a retirement plan, and people can have millions of dollars, but if they have a heart attack, a stroke, they die of cancer early because of stress, and they take care of themselves, all this planning is for nothing. It's just, I stress, money can't make you healthy. It can't solve your problems, but you'd be shocked. Health and wealth go hand in hand. Your endurance level, your energy, who you attract to you, how you look, how you feel, your mindset of if you feel sexy and amazing and awesome, you're going to stand up, you're going to stand. But if you feel overweight and insecure, you're going to hide in the corner, and you're going to feel fearful of presenting yourself and getting yourself out there. It's going to improve the relationships. It's going to improve your endurance, your stamina, to have health and wealth go hand in hand. So I want you guys all to shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance. Even if you feel like you have an abundance mindset, you can take it to the next level. So how do we improve that? We shift? Practicing gratitude. My life coach has had me do for years a gratitude journal, and like the first habits she had me do in the beginning, and it was so difficult, was every day I had to write 100 things I was grateful for. And I was like, I'm grateful for the air I'm breathing. It's clean compared to India and pollution. I'm grateful I have shoes to wear. I'm like looking all over the room of like what I'm grateful for. But it was the exercise. It's the constant conditioning your mind to appreciate all the things around you versus you're complaining. Like, I'm grateful I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful I'm safe right now. I'm grateful I'm not in a third world country that's being bombed and the women have no rights. And there's women getting raped and death and sorrow. And I grew up, I was born into a family that gave me opportunities and love and knowledge. So like, you have to practice gratitude, and sometimes you have to get creative when you're starting to do this because our minds aren't thinking that way. And so it takes habits. Now I just do it at nighttime subconsciously. In the morning, I wake up and say 3 of the things I'm grateful for. And then when I go to bed, 3 of the things I'm grateful for. And you get a habit, and it gets you in the right mindset. It gets you to sleep in the right mindset. It gets you waking up in the right mindset. Like, I do a lot at bedtime with like a law of attraction hypnosis and positive thinking hypnosis. I don't go to bed watching horror movies and scary things and news and trauma because it gets your mind to think and sleep about that and put it deep in your subconscious. So these are little habits that you can do to change your mindset. Reframing from negative thoughts. I get it. It's hard when it's raining and I just want to go outside and go to the beach. Like, okay, I can go to the beach later. Let's look at the weather. I can't control that it all of a sudden started raining, but I can make choices. I'm going to pivot. I was going to work on some stuff this afternoon. I'm going to work on it now, and I'm going to go to the beach later. Like, these are those things you can do to pivot and change. You got a challenge in front of you, and are you going to pout and throw a tantrum like a toddler would do? Or are you going to pause and be like, okay, how do I handle this challenge? What can we do? Yes, I had some goals. Let's prioritize. Let's pivot as a team. Let's pivot in our life. Like, oh my gosh, I just slipped and broke my ankle. My whole life just pivoted. I had all this stuff and plans, and you just have to adjust, and you have to say, I am so glad I didn't break my neck. Like, there's so much we can do to just appreciate, like, okay, the universe needed me to have some time to pause and reflect and XYZ. So like, there's so many ways we can do it. Am I not good enough versus I'm possible. Anything's possible. I am an amazing asset to the universe, and my brain and my mind can do amazing, wonderful things and make big change. And this is how I can do it. Set long-term goals and then reverse baby steps to make them happen. But when you're in such a deep negative scarcity mindset, you have to just start with baby steps first. Like, it's not even possible to think big visionary, big goals when you're in an extreme survival mode and you've had your entire life scarcity mindset. You have to start with little things. You have to start with the scarcity, just pausing and recognizing, being more present in the moment of like thinking about what you're saying and how you're doing it, instead of just autopilot and doing what you've always done. You start a gratitude journal. You say, I'm going to give 5 compliments today, and I'm going to force myself to make the compliments, and I'm going to watch for opportunities where I can leave a compliment and I can see opportunities to help people. You gotta force yourself to think differently, little baby steps in the beginning, but then once you make momentum, you start dreaming big, you start setting goals, you start having a vision board, and it just compounds on itself. Surround yourself with positive people. It's the law of attraction. You want to be the weakest asset in your group and your support, but you also want to add value to them. You don't want to just be the leech, give me, because you won't be in the group very long. You want to say, hey, I want to learn. Like, you guys have a huge real estate portfolio. You have an amazing birth center that I want to replicate and create in my area. I would love to learn from you. How can I add value to you? Because your knowledge is so important to me. Can I work on some policy? Can I work on some things? Can I come work at your birth center for 3 to 6 months and do some administration learning with you, but be free labor? Like, add value, create a win-win situation. And you'd be shocked how they're like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Like, compliments and flattery, and not just lying, but telling you the truth. Like, oh my gosh, I adore you. You are such a hard worker. Like, I hope I can be a fraction of what you are someday. And it's amazing how you'll get it back to you, because we want positivity, energy, success, optimism, creativity, thinking outside the box. You're going to attract those people also looking for those type of relationships. Focus on abundance and not scarcity. And I know it's so hard. We go through phases and like, okay, I'm hungry. What if the grocery store doesn't have food? Like, I'm on an island right now and there's just not nearly as many supplies, so I can throw a tantrum or I can get creative and I can have things shipped here, and it takes longer and you got to plan and you work through the challenges and you just appreciate the opportunity that, okay, Michigan is cold and I'm on an island right now, and yes, some of the things are, the power goes in and out, it feels like a third world country, the hospital's missing a bunch of stuff, but I've got great nurses and great doctors to work with, and the clients, the patients we're serving are amazing. Like, it's all how you present it and look at things when you're embracing the moments and the challenges that you're in at the moment. Investing in yourself, like, you are your greatest asset. You will hear me say it over and over again. And knowledge is power if applied. So applied knowledge. You need to learn things and then implement it into your life. Add value to other people, grow from it, and not just have a narrowed mindset. I think that was a big shift for me too. My entire life I was like, school is because I have to do it. I'm only going to do the bare minimum of homework. I'm only going to do my CEUs that are mandatory. I'm only going to take my courses that are required to get this degree, that are required for this job. I'm not going to learn about all these other subjects because they don't matter. And then as I went through my burnout and my crisis 10 years ago, having a diversified knowledge of philosophy and history and geopolitics and money and finances has made me a better midwife, has made me a better person to support my family and to make a bigger scale impact on my passions and drives than if I only had my midwifery skills. So, like, learn your passions, learn what makes you happy, and then invest in yourself. Like, there's games out there that people are playing, and if you don't know the games, you're going to lose at them. I'm not saying the games are right or wrong when it comes to rules and the ethics of our society, but they're there. And do you want to be successful and be able to have a good life? You have to learn how to play those games. So as an overall conclusion, shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, it doesn't happen overnight. Most people are in scarcity. Most people are in fear. It's human nature. Fear isn't deeply ingrained in us. Like, it's a biological thing, but when you have a great thing happen, we're excited for a little bit. But when we make a mistake, we have trauma, it haunts us over and over again for a really long time because of that biological response. We're like, that lion tried to eat us, so you better watch out for dark bushes back in the day. And every time you see a dark bush, you're going to get fearful and anxious, even though there may or may not be a lion there, versus, oh my goodness, you made a great thing and you learned a great tool. You cheer and get excited a little bit, but it doesn't like reinforce and hit you all the time. Every single time you see that tool you invented, it doesn't hit you like it did at the beginning. So we have to understand our biology. We have to understand our human emotions and how they come out and how they respond, because it's going to help you understand yourself internally, but it's also going to help you understand other people and opportunities and the way the system is, and how do you change it, and how do you improve it, and how do you build those relationships, and create amazing opportunities that are endless. They're truly endless. But we also have to be realistic of like, okay, I create all these tools, all these resources, all these amazing things, and I'm showing the value. But if we're in a place in society that people aren't ready for it, if the healthcare system, I think, oh my gosh, all midwives should accept insurance, but then the pay reimbursement for insurance is such crap in their area, like I can't change that part of it. So there's another great series that I loved to watch, The Food That Made America, because it was really inspiring. Like, I think of often when I'm trying to change this big coalition for midwifery about the gentleman that did the Bird's Eye frozen foods, and he lived way up north in Canada. And it was before freezers and it was before frozen foods. When they would try to freeze things, it was too slow. And then when they thawed, it was all mushy and nasty. He was up way in Canada where it's minus 40 degrees and things would flash freeze. So then when he would rethaw them, they tasted just as good as if they were fresh. And so he invented warehouses that would flash freeze like the Canadian colds did. And he had all this amazing frozen food, but he had the problem that the system wasn't ready for it. People didn't have freezers at their houses. There were no trains that could transport the froze food. The grocery stores didn't have freezers. He had this amazing asset resource that could be a huge value to everybody, but the system wasn't ready for it based on technology, cultural perceptions, demands. And I think of that often with like midwifery and where we're at, and just the business and financial side, I know how important and how much this can change things, but if the system isn't ready for it, I'm just going to be patient and persistent. So Bird's Eye finally made a breakthrough with Marjorie Post, who was the daughter of the Post cereal owner. She created all the General Mills and all this collaboration coalition. Like, I adore her story. You'll have to definitely watch The Food That Shapes America. But Marjorie Post collaborated with Bird's Eye. She bought his company, collaborated. She created a system that could support his product, could support it. She got engineering of trains and refrigeration systems. She gave all the grocery stores freezers because she knew the bigger picture of the money, the value, the impact that these systems created. And so creating a win-win collaboration model impacts everybody on a larger scale. So it's just always a story that I give an example of, that sometimes we feel frustrated in our own little worlds that the system isn't quite ready for a midwife because the doctor supervisory is there, the laws are restrictive, the reimbursement is crap, our families have to pay cash, and the financial turmoil makes it hard for them to access midwifery. There's a lot of myths and culture and challenges, but if you look at abundance, you change one birth at a time. Those clients refer more great clients to you. You get involved in lobbying and involved in politics and advocacy, and you show the value, and you get these laws changed. Like, we can make big things happen, but we have to be able to have an abundance mindset and see the opportunities and see how to fix things.